We're looking at more facts and information about the final prophet of Islam, the Prophet Muhammad. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of FTD Facts. My name is Leroy Kenton, and I have part 2 of 10 surprising facts about the Prophet Muhammad coming right up. But before we get into this episode, leave a like on this video if you love learning about new cultures, religions, and people, and more. That's what we do here on FTD Facts. And also, if you're watching for the first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell. That way you'll be notified of our future episodes. Okay, so I said enough. Let's just jump into the facts right now. So first thing I want to share is the Prophet Muhammad was actually known to stand up against discrimination as well as self-imposed superiority. Now, during his last sermon, this was spoken at Mount Arafat, he made his anti-racist views public. So the Prophet Muhammad said that an Arab has no superiority over a non-Arab, or a non-Arab has any superiority over an Arab. And a white person has no superiority over a black, nor does a black have any superiority over white, except by piety and good action. So pretty much, regardless of your skin color or where you're from in the world, that does not make you a better person than anybody else. What actually makes you a better person, if you will, is the good deeds that you do. Again, doesn't necessarily mean you're better, but you're better off doing good than evil things anyways. Alright, the next thing to share is for his day, it said that the Prophet Muhammad was actually a feminist. And as a matter of fact, that's according to Lisa Bayer, who's a writer for Time magazine. And she points out that by laying down the Islamic doctrine that dictates women's rights, the Prophet Muhammad was said to be the first feminist in history. This was all to counter the widespread exploitation of women. So he ordered men to honor and respect all women. Now, in one of his final commands before he passed away, the Prophet Muhammad is said to have said this phrase, "I command you to be kind and considerate to women." And in another hadith, he said this, "It is only the generous in character who is good to women, and only the evil one who insults them." The Prophet Muhammad really frowned upon fathers who favor their sons over their daughters. The Prophet Muhammad is seen as an example of how to have a relationship with a woman, as well as how to work with women. It's even believed that Prophet Muhammad even decreed that women have a right to sexual satisfaction, not just men. Now, moving on to the next fact, coming in at number 8. So the Prophet Muhammad wore an engraved ring with the words, "Muhammad is the messenger of God." Now, because he was illiterate, so he couldn't read, he actually ordered the ring to be made as a signature seal. Now, the seal was used to sign letters that he sent to various different rulers in different parts of the world, and his love and devotion to God really pushed him to put the name Allah as a top word, and then he put his name at the bottom. Also, another fact to share about the Prophet Muhammad was that he really cared for animals, including cats and dogs. Now, while some sayings are attributed to the Prophet accuse him of being very hostile towards dogs, there's many Islamic scholars that believe that those claims are actually fabrications. As a matter of fact, in his book, The Animal in Ottoman Egypt, an article that was published on Quartz, Alan McHale, who is a professor of history at Yale University, he actually claims to set the facts straight about dogs in Islamic culture. So according to McHale, he says that dogs were found around the Mosque of the Prophet in Medina, which is the second holiest Islamic site in the entire world, during the Prophet Muhammad's life and for centuries after his passing. He also cited several authoritative accounts of his life and teachings. So McHale writes that the Prophet even conducted prayer in the presence of dogs. Also, on top of that, according to several Islamic schools of thought, the Prophet Muhammad is believed to have forbade people from selling and paying for dogs and cats. Islamic tradition holds that the first person to believe Prophet Muhammad after he got his revelation from the Quran was his wife Khadija and his close friend Abu Bakr, who is regarded as the successor to Muhammad by Sunni Muslims. And like I mentioned in part 1, shortly after that, Prophet Muhammad began to gather a small following, and he initially encountered no real opposition, but most people in Mecca, they either ignored him or they just mocked him and made fun of him as just being another prophet or wannabe prophet. However, when his message actually started to condemn idol worship as well as polytheism, many of Mecca's tribal leaders began to see the Prophet Muhammad as a real threat. Again, I go more into detail about that in part 1. Now, on top of going against long-standing belief systems that already exist, the condemnation of idol worship had a huge economic consequence for merchants who actually catered to thousands of pilgrims who came to Mecca every single year. Now, of course, this was especially true for the members of Prophet Muhammad's own tribe, the Quraysh, who were guardians of the Kaaba. So sensing this threat, Mecca's merchants as well as their leaders offered the Prophet Muhammad some incentives to abandon his preaching, but he absolutely refused. He says, nope, I'm going to speak what I believe in because this is right, regardless of what you guys have to say. Now, the next fact was a fact that I wasn't necessarily going to include in this episode because I just didn't want to offend anybody or make this too controversial. But after looking into it, I decided to share this anyways. So the Prophet Muhammad married Sayyida Aisha when she was just 9 years old. Now, the thing to know is that 1400 years ago, this was something that was very common to marry young girls. In fact, they were not even considered young girls, but rather they were considered to be young women back then. There are historical records to show that girls aged 9 to 14 were in fact being married in places like Europe, Asia, as well as Africa. Also on top of that, even in the United States, not too far back in history, girls as young as 10 years old were actually being married. So at that time, it was culturally acceptable. It was a completely different time period. The life expectancy wasn't as long as it was today, so people started families a lot earlier as well. So although today in our modern society, it may look completely weird, but back then that was just the cultural tradition at the time. Now, moving on now to another fact, the Prophet Muhammad is believed to have sometimes prayed so much that his legs would actually start to swell up. There was one account where he was asked why he offered such an unbearable prayer, and then he replied, "Shall I not be a thankful slave to Allah?" And by the way, slave can also be translated as servant. Moving on now to fact number 3. After the conflict with Mecca was finally settled, the Prophet Muhammad took his first true Islamic pilgrimage to the city of Mecca in March of 1632. And that's where he delivered his final sermon at Mount Arafat. And finally, when he returned to Medina, his wife's home, he became really sick for several days, and he passed away on June 8th, 632 at the age of 62 years old. And then he was buried at Al-Masjid An-Nabawi, which is the Mosque of the Prophet, one of the first mosques that was built by the Prophet Muhammad in the city of Medina. So after 23 years of prophethood, when the Prophet Muhammad passed away, Islam spread to other places too because of the efforts of his caliphs. Now, the revelations that the Prophet Muhammad received were compiled in the Quran also after his passing away. And the last thing I want to share about the Prophet Muhammad is that according to the 6th edition of the Columbia Encyclopedia back in the year 2000, the name Muhammad was probably the most common given name in the entire world. And that includes all of the variations of Muhammad. Now, it's estimated that more than 150 million men and boys in the entire world have the name Muhammad, and this is due to the relationship to the Islamic prophet Muhammad. Also, recently in 2019, for the first time, the name Muhammad is on the top 10 most popular baby names for boys in the United States. And that was according to the website Baby Center. So there's a whole lot of Muhammadness happening in the world. People just love the name. Also, it just goes to show you how much Muslims honor and revere the Prophet Muhammad. Alright guys, so that's all the facts I have for you in this part 2 of 10 surprising facts about the Prophet Muhammad. I know I shared a lot, but now it's time for me to hear from you guys. Sound off down below in the comment section about anything that I shared in this episode. And I hope you found this one very interesting, entertaining, and informative as well. But before I head out, I know I've said a lot, but I got some more to say because I'll be responding to some of your comments from part 1 titled 10 Surprising Facts About Prophet Muhammad. This is a segment that we've introduced in some of our videos just to give us an opportunity to share some more feedback, insight, respond to your questions, as well as clear up anything that you may need clarification on, and more. Alright, so let's see what you guys had to say. The first comment comes from HF Khan, and you said, please say peace be upon him with the name of prophets. Thank you. Really? Does it also apply to non-Muslims as well? Because I know peace be upon him is said to show respect and honor to the prophet. But I mean, saying their name, like, wouldn't that be enough? Like, their name isn't peace be upon him, or that's not part of their name. It's just something that Muslims say to show their honor and respect. So that was the first time I saw somebody commenting on that. So I figured I might just highlight it because you guys may have some more insight on this. Comment number 2 comes from Being Fan of Islam. And he said, very short video, expected longer video, especially on the Prophet's momentary space journey. That was the most surprising one. I've done many videos about Islam, and I know for sure I have spoken about Muhammad's space trip in at least 2 of the episodes that I've done. I can't remember off the top of my head which one those are, but you know, there's so many facts, and like we only fit 10 facts into an episode. And also to your point of longer episodes, if you've noticed now, we've started to make our videos a lot longer just to throw in, you know, comment responses like this, as well as to share more facts and information with you guys, because a lot of you guys have been requesting for us to do longer videos because you just want more information. So that's what we're going to keep on doing. And the final comment I'm responding to comes from Naveed Ul Haq. And he said, subscribed to this channel long time ago, but had just watched a few videos of yours. The way you documented this very important chapter of human history is incredible. Unbiased reporting, even disagreeing, is what we saw just ago. You got a new regular follower of the channel, perhaps today. Hey man, so I really appreciate your comment, and thanks for tuning in and becoming a regular viewer. I know quite a bit of people, they may watch a couple episodes, may not necessarily tune in on a regular basis, but thank you for all of you who tune in occasionally or tune in to every single video. We really appreciate you watching and learning with us. Also, when it comes to unbiased reporting, that's exactly what we try to do, because one thing that people need to understand is that FTD Facts, like, we don't take sides. Like, we're not a religious channel, we're not a Muslim channel, we're not a countries channel. We share facts and information about countries, cultures, people, and religions. That's what we do. We just share. It just so happens that a large majority of our audience are Muslim. So we share a lot of information about this as well, and we do our best to definitely keep it biased because there are so many belief systems out there and we want to give all of them a chance. So either way, thank you man for joining the FTD Facts family and being on this journey with us. Alright guys, so that is it for me in this episode. Really hope you enjoyed this one. And before you go, I'm going to be leaving you with a related episode that I don't want you to miss. It's going to be at the end screen right here, so I'm going to get out of your way so you can check that one out. Alright guys, I'll see you real soon.